And we're back. Right, so what I've done so far is I used up the paint that was on the palette, doing the turret whilst very quickly whilst we were off air. Is it off air? Fuck it, whatever it means. Like, and I am just going to do the top. Place this plate or the top bit of this tankette very quickly, and then we get to sit back and wait for paint to dry. Fortunately with oils, not oils, enamels even, that's not an awfully long time. Like, unstable hydrocarbons evaporate better than water, and all I've got to do is put a very loose wash of this over, so that it, I mean, you've got to concentrate a bit on the pewter, because otherwise that won't take. But oh, for heaven's sake, bristles. There we go. Yeah, that is slightly the problem with even nice brushes, is that eventually the white spirit gets to them and they don't like it, and they start shedding bristles with age. But it wears out with acrylic as well, so and I haven't noticed any greater deterioration of brushes with enamels, really. I mean, they if I'm right, that needs doing. But then, yeah, get the finer details. I call that done. Now we're going to do these figures. These really don't take long. The beauty of white spirit is it levels quite nicely. These, not being acrylics, you don't need an awful lot of paint on them, and you can use quite a lot of thinners to literally level this out, and it'll, even if you've got stuff in the recesses quite deeply, it will just level out as the hydrocarbons but evaporate, and you'll be left with a nice smooth matte finish, which takes paint very well. I mean, obviously don't slather them in paint, but this very washed down thing, it's as good a primer as any other, in that it's oil based. It won't react with many, it's not going to react with paints that you put over it, which is, I mean, in this case it'd be more Humbrol, but there we go. I really love these Empress Miniatures. Like, I discovered them slightly by accident. And side note, I love the FAL as a rifle. I think it's very pretty. I think it's very, as all the Cold War battle rifles, it is a pretty one. So I was looking for soldiers in 28mm armed with FALs, and I stumbled across Empress Miniatures, and they did British Army on the Rhine, and then these Australian forces in Vietnam who also carried it. And I am getting my fix. It's really pleasing. Like, my interest is Cold War battlefields. Having grown up in the 80s, like, that was still a thing. And we did still have a pretty battle rifle that looked good. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm sure, you know, there are many drawbacks to it. You know, prettiness is not exactly, it's not, you know, aesthetic, visual aesthetics is not what you choose a rifle about. But the FAL, I think, is a graceful looking rifle. And it's nice to have these quite sexy figures all toting them. But yeah, how are we doing? There we go. And that is that lot, basically undercoated. I'm going to add some more to the... No, I don't need it. I think the turret might benefit from another going over in places, mainly the pewter, just to make sure, whilst we've got white paint out, just make sure that all the pewter's got a proper what's it on it, coverage. And you don't need an awful lot, and you don't want to put on too much paint with an undercoat, but it does need to be enough to actively cover it. God, this music's awful. No, you're not. Yeah. And now we watch paint dry. I suppose that's... Oh, you don't. Because I'm going to stop here, but I do.